In 1888, a shadowy figure emerged in London's East End, leaving a trail of terror. Known as Jack the Ripper, his identity remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. This video begins our journey into the dark alleys of Whitechapel to uncover the truth. Whitechapel was a grim, overcrowded slum in Victorian London, plagued by poverty, crime, and despair. Narrow streets and dank alleys provided the perfect hunting ground for a killer like Jack the Ripper, who struck fear into an already suffering population. On August 31, 1888, Mary Ann Nichols was found dead in Bucks Row, her throat slashed and abdomen mutilated. This brutal murder marked the beginning of Jack the Ripper's reign of terror, shocking the city and baffling police investigators. As news of Nichols' murder spread, London's newspapers sensationalized the crime, dubbing the killer the Whitechapel Fiend. Public panic grew, and the press began receiving chilling letters, some signed by the elusive Jack the Ripper himself. Just over a week later, on September 8, Annie Chapman was found in a backyard, her body horrifically mutilated. The precision of the cuts suggested the killer had anatomical knowledge, deepening the mystery of his identity. On September 30, Elizabeth Stride was killed in Dutfield's yard, her throat cut but body unmutilated. Some believe the Ripper was interrupted, as another murder occurred nearby that same night, hinting at his relentless brutality. Less than an hour after Stride's death, Catherine Eddowes was found in Mitre Square, her body savagely dismembered. The Ripper's audacity in striking twice in one night electrified London and intensified the manhunt. On September 27, a taunting letter arrived at the Central News Agency, signed Jack the Ripper. Promising more bloodshed, it mocked the police and cemented the killer's infamous nickname in the public's imagination. Led by Inspector Frederick Aberline, Scotland Yard launched a desperate investigation. Officers combed Whitechapel, interviewing witnesses and chasing leads, but the Ripper's cunning left them grasping at shadows in the foggy streets. On November 9, Mary Jane Kelly was found in her room, her body so horrifically mutilated it was barely recognizable. This savage killing inside a private space marked the peak of the Ripper's brutality. Nichols, Chapman, Stride, Eddowes, and Kelly are known as the Canonical Five, the murders most reliably attributed to Jack the Ripper. Their deaths share chilling similarities, yet the killer's identity remains maddeningly elusive. After Eddowes' murder, a bloody apron was found near a chalk message blaming Jews. Was it a clue from the Ripper or a coincidence? Police erased it, fueling endless speculation. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber with mental instability, lived in Whitechapel during the murders. Some modern theorists point to DNA evidence linking him to a shawl, but doubts persist about his guilt. Montague Drute, a barrister who drowned himself in the Thames shortly after Kelly's murder, was suspected by some. His proximity to London and mental decline made him a compelling, if unproven, candidate. Walter Sickert, a famous painter, was later implicated by author Patricia Cornwell. His dark artwork and alleged obsession with the murders fuel this theory, though evidence remains circumstantial. James Maybrick, a cotton merchant, was named in a supposed diary confessing to the crimes. Discovered in 1992, its authenticity is hotly debated, leaving his candidacy as the Ripper uncertain. A wild theory claims Prince Albert Victor, grandson of Queen Victoria, or his associates were involved. Alleged cover-ups by the monarchy add intrigue, but historians dismiss it as fanciful fiction. Early in the case, suspicion fell on Leather Apron, a local Jewish bootmaker named John Pizer. Cleared by police, his brief notoriety reflects the public's desperate need for a culprit. Frustrated by police failures, Whitechapel residents formed vigilance committees, patrolling streets with clubs and lanterns. Their efforts to catch the Ripper were brave, but ultimately fruitless against his phantom-like presence. On October 16, a letter arrived with a piece of kidney claiming it was Eddowes. Signed from hell, its gruesome detail horrified readers and bolstered the Ripper's terrifying legend. The precision of the mutilations led some to speculate the Ripper was a doctor or butcher. This theory points to his ability to dissect quickly in darkness, adding to his mystique. Newspapers didn't just report the murders, they shaped the Ripper's mythos. Sensational headlines and lurid details turned a killer into a cultural icon, amplifying fear and fascination across London. The thick London fog was more than atmosphere, it was the Ripper's ally. Cloaking his movements, it allowed him to strike and vanish, leaving witnesses with only fleeting, useless glimpses. The Ripper's victims were poor, often prostitutes, struggling to survive. Their tragic stories, alcoholism, abandonment, desperation, paint a grim picture of Whitechapel's underbelly, overlooked until their deaths made headlines. Despite countless interviews and patrols, the police hit dead ends. The Ripper's lack of mistakes and the era's limited forensics left investigators powerless, their failure haunting Scotland Yard's legacy. Was it rage, madness, or a twisted mission? Theories abound about why the Ripper killed, some say misogyny, others insanity. Without his identity, his true motive remains a dark enigma. After Kelly's death, the canonical murders stopped. Did the Ripper die, flee, or simply vanish into obscurity? The abrupt halt only deepened the mystery surrounding his identity. Jack the Ripper didn't just kill, he created a legend. His story inspired books, films, and endless debates, turning a faceless killer into a symbol of Victorian terror and intrigue. Today, DNA and profiling offer new hope. Analysis of a shawl from Eddowes scene points to Kosminski, but contamination and skepticism keep the case open, tantalizingly unsolved. How did he blend in? Some say he was a gentleman, others a laborer. His ability to evade capture suggests a chameleon-like skill, hiding in plain sight among Whitechapel's masses. Whitechapel's residents lived in dread, locking doors and avoiding alleys. The Ripper's shadow loomed over every corner, turning a struggling community into a place of paranoia and despair. After 1888, other murders bore his style, muddying the case. Were these copycats, or did the Ripper continue elsewhere? The line between truth and imitation blurs the investigation. Some argue the Ripper hated women, targeting prostitutes as symbols of vice. Others see it as opportunism. His choice of victims fuels discussions about gender and violence in Victorian society. From Sherlock Holmes tales to modern thrillers, the Ripper's myth grew in fiction. Writers reimagined him as a monster, a genius, or a ghost, cementing his place in popular culture. Whitechapel has changed, but the Ripper's ghost lingers. Tourists visit murder sites and plaques mark the past, a haunting reminder of the terror that once gripped these streets. Experts suggest the Ripper was a loner, possibly paranoid with a need for control. Profiling offers clues, anger, intelligence, detachment, but without a name, it's a portrait of a shadow. Lost files, destroyed clues, and fading memories plague the case. Victorian police methods and time have erased key pieces, leaving historians with frustrating gaps in the Ripper puzzle. Why no confession? Did he revel in anonymity, or was he silenced by death or imprisonment? His refusal to speak keeps the world guessing about his true nature. Freemasons, government plots, or a rogue doctor, wild conspiracies abound. Each adds layers to the mystery, but none hold up under scrutiny, leaving the Ripper's identity tantalizingly out of reach. Beyond the horror, the victims' names endure: Nichols, Chapman, Stride, Eddowes, Kelly. Once forgotten souls, they're now central to a story that refuses to fade from history's pages. His last letter promised more chaos, yet he vanished. Was it a bluff or a sign he'd won? The silence that followed was his ultimate mockery of justice. Scotland Yard closed the file, but the questions linger. New theories emerge yearly, yet the Ripper's identity slips through every net, a puzzle defying time and technology. He shaped crime fiction, forensics, and urban legends. The Ripper's shadow stretches beyond 1888, proving one man's terror can ripple through centuries, altering how we see evil. Amateur sleuths and scholars still chase the truth, poring over letters and clues. Each new lead revives hope, but the Ripper's secret remains buried in Whitechapel's past. Is he a monster or a man? The Ripper's myth looms larger than facts, blending horror with fascination. Stripping away the legend reveals a killer still frustratingly human. Why are we drawn to him? The Ripper taps into fear, curiosity, and the unknown. His mystery hooks us, a grim reminder of humanity's fascination with its own darkness. Some say he haunts Whitechapel still, a spectral figure in the fog. Superstition or not, his presence lingers, a ghost born of blood and unanswered questions. Could a lost letter or artifact still surface? Dreamers hope for a breakthrough, but time buries secrets deep. The Ripper's identity may forever elude us. Kosminski, Droot, a nobody, theories clash but no proof sticks. Jack the Ripper remains a name without a face, a killer who took his truth to the grave. Over a century later, Jack the Ripper fascinates and frustrates us. His identity, lost to history, leaves us with a chilling tale of murder, fear, and a puzzle that may never be solved.